What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm recording this episode reviewing NXT from this week on Tuesday, April 28th. It's current as I'm recording this currently. It's Wednesday, April 29th, the next day, like at night, the next night. So sorry, it's kind of late. I just been busy, but it's actually the next night right now. But I'm reviewing it today. So I told you guys I would get it out. So this episode. So last week's episode of NXT, like as you know, me and my co-host do Raw and SmackDown together. NXT and AEW, I'm gonna be doing by myself for a little bit. So and those episodes are gonna be a lot shorter. Like last week's was pretty short. Raw and SmackDown last week was like over an hour. NXT last week was like, I don't know, 20-25 minutes. This one, however, this week's NXT, this episode's probably gonna be a lot longer because a lot happened on this episode because of how much debuts there were. My guess, because as you guys know, a lot of NXT, most of their main event stars, all got called up on Raw and SmackDown. Ethan Page called up to Raw. Sol Ruka called up to Raw. Ricky Saints is going to SmackDown this Friday. His last match was tonight. Fatal Influence, all three of the Fatal Influence, JT James, Fallon Henley, Lenny Reed, all three of them to SmackDown. Like they took a lot of people. So they brought in a bunch of people from Evolve and AAA tonight on the show, and they kind of filled in those spots that were missing now. So, oh, and also, as I told you guys last episode, me and my co-host, we want to try to talk about like a new breaking wrestling news like at least once every episode. Like we want to break down a story at the very end. Tonight, I actually this week on our Raw review, we didn't really have any huge stories. It was kind of a slow news day, but tonight we got a big one, and it's actually perfect because it's literally NXT news, breaking news on an NXT review. So I have like a perfect news to talk about because they actually announced it. They announced it yesterday, Tuesday, the same day as the episode. So yeah, just wanted to get this little part out in the intro, the little to-do list. Had some chores to talk about at the beginning. So yeah, this episode was full of tons of debuts. So this is gonna be a fun one. So strap in. And let's go to the first match. Here we go.
The
first match. So it's actually Myles Borne, the North American champion, is defending his title against a member of Darkstate. None of Darkstate's in this game yet. That's why I just made the background match for you guys, just a random star. I put it on random. The tank letter came out. It was on random. That's why I do the stars aren't. Basically, if there's not a star in the game, that's pretty much what I've been doing. But anyway. So last week, on NXT Revenge Week 2, the special, Myles Borne defended and retained against Darkstate's, the faction Darkstate, the faction member Dion Lennox, and he retained against Dion last week. Now tonight he defends against another member of Darkstate. This time it's Saquon and Shugars. Pretty fun match, great opener, but basically toward the end of the match, Dion Lennox was trying to help Saquon and Shugars win the match, but he kind of accidentally costed him. They've been kind of teasing this for a little bit of Darkstate. Wow, that was quick. The background match. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I forgot to mention in the intro, also Blake Monroe. It's another one that got called up. But yeah, anyway, I just remember that now. My mind's weird. So they've been teasing in Darkstate, like the other two members, Osiris, Griffin, and Cutler James, they're fine, but Dion Lennox and Saquon Shugars have been having some back and forth tension. So because of Dion Lennox interfering and accidentally costing Shugars the match, Myles Borne pinned him and retained the title. So he's still the North American champion because of the interference. As we pretty much continue the downfall of Darkstate, I guess. That's kind of what's going on with the storyline currently. Also, if you guys are interested in the little fun fact stats like I am, I actually looked up. I'm gonna give credit to the website. I use Cage Match for a lot of like the title match stuff. And like the title, like the reigns and all that. According to Cage Match, this was Myles Borne's 4th defense. So far it's been Ethan Page, John Gargano, Dion Lennox, Saquon Shugars. And as of this recording, the next night, he's been North American champ for 65 days, as of right now. So, in case you guys are wondering, a little fun fact. That was it. Now here's the post-match thing. Oh, we're not done. We're not done with this opening segment. That was just the match. There was something at the end of the match. It was a big angle too at the end. Someone comes out to the crowd to cut a promo. Tristan Angels. I didn't know who this guy was. I had to look him up. Apparently he's a huge star in AAA, and He's the first of many debuts tonight. Like I said, I told you guys before, there's many debuts tonight on the show. He's the first one in this promo. He was the first one. So Tristan Angels comes out to the crowd with a mic after the match, and he introduces himself. Well, first he congratulates Myles on the victory. Then he introduces himself as Mr. England, Tristan Angels, and he makes it clear that he's coming after Myles and his title. Then another guy, this is the second debut tonight, Hendrix, he attacks Myles from behind and hits him with a rock bottom. Now, Hendrix, I know who he is. He got a name change. If you guys watched the WWE LFG show, in season 1 and 2, he was on that show and he was known as Anthony Luke. He's actually Maxine Dupree from Raw. He's her boyfriend in real life. And he changed his name to Hendrix. So he's been on LFG. I think a little bit of Evolve. I do watch Evolve. I haven't kept up in the last few weeks. I've been kind of slacking on it. He's been on Evolve, and now he's officially called up to NXT, making his debut on the show with this attack. So that was it for this segment. Those are the first 2 debuts. There's more. There's like 2 or 3 more, but these were the first 2. Then we go backstage to Kendall Gray and the Speed Women's Champion Ren Sinclair. They're chatting it up in the back when Kalani Jordan rolls up in. She comes in and says they're getting too much opportunities. They're getting more opportunities than she thinks she should be getting. And then Kendall Gray is like, didn't you get knocked out in NXT Underground by Lola Vice? And then Kalani says they're being stupid because they have no friends in NXT. Ren Sinclair says Kalani's worried about the wrong champion. And then Kalani Jordan challenges her to a match later tonight, but Kalani says she doesn't want the Speed Women's title match. She doesn't want the Speed Women's title match. She doesn't want the title on the line. She just wants to beat Ren Sinclair and embarrass her. So that's made official for later tonight. We'll get to that. But anyway, but first, next we go to a cool little video of Tony D'Angelo and the NXT Champion, and we go to commercial break. Then, after the commercial break, we go to our next segment. NXT Champion Tony D'Angelo comes out for a promo. When we get back on the commercial break, he comes out and with Mike. He says, the more this place changes, the more it stays the same, and competitors come and go. But ever since he came into this building, he's been the constant. He's been here for like 5 years. It's crazy. Don't know how I won the match that fast. That's crazy. Anyway, he says there's not a man on the roster tough enough to kick him off the mountain, including whoever sent in that box last week. Because last week there was like a mysterious box in the back, and that was sent to him, and no one knew what it was, including him. That's what he's talking about. He says, we've got competitors from Evolve and competitors from LFG attacking Myles Borne. There's European people like Tristan Angels stepping up. Keanu Carter's been side-eyeing in the back. Well, he's interested in the box more than anything. He says he knows it's not a gift, but it's a warning. And then out of nowhere, after he says that, the lights go down and they come back up with all blue and purple. Someone comes out in a hoodie. So before I tell you guys what it is, by the way, this is the 3rd debut of the night. But before I tell you guys who this is, I actually gotta bring you back to earlier this week. There was a story about this person debuting. So there's a huge. I don't know much about this guy. I'm familiar with his work. I don't know much about him. There's a huge New Japan star that recently left New Japan, and he was huge there. He recently left, and there's rumors that earlier this week there was a story that I should have talked about this on the Raw review. Now I think about it. There was rumors earlier this week that he is reportedly signed to WWE and he's making his debut very shortly. He's also currently the fiancé getting married to Io Sky from Raw in real life at the moment. And this was him debuting. Evil. That's his name. Evil. The crowd knew. They started chanting evil in the crowd. So yeah, he's officially made the reports were true online. He made his debut in NXT tonight. Evil comes out, and all the smoke, the hood. He takes the hood off and reveals his face as he stands face to face with Tony D'Angelo in the ring. Then he gives him another object. It's like a fabric rolled up, and then Tony D'Angelo opens the fabric, and it's a banner with the same character from last week in the box, and then Evil just leaves. Then as he leaves, this 4th person's not a debut. It's more of a big return because this person's been gone for a bit. Tavion Heights is back. He blindsides Tony D from behind and lays him out. And then he starts yelling at the camera, he's coming for everything, and then now the 5th person in the segment that comes out right now, I told you guys there was a lot. That was a return. Now here's the 4th debut. Some dude comes out of the crowd in a hoodie and moonstalks Tony D, and commentary doesn't know who he is, and neither does anyone else. So they basically did the angle as one of those like, oh, fan came out of the crowd and attacked a wrestler type of things. But I know who he is. I actually did a little research. Hang on. Let me double check. I wrote Will Cruz. That's his name. Will Cruz. I did a little research, and honestly, I'm kind of high on him. He actually seems pretty cool. This was him making his debut. He's apparently from a different promotion. I don't know where he's from, but he's from somewhere else as well. And this was his debut. He attacked Tony. So three different people attacked Tony D. Everyone's coming for his belt. So, yeah. But anyway, let me go back to my notes. I have my phone. I think that was the end of the segment. Actually, after that, I believe that was the ending. Yeah, that was the end. So then we cut to a vignette of the women's North American champion Tatum Paxley and Shiloh Hill. They have this fun little partnership going on. There's a vignette of the two of them. They're burying Blake Monroe's casket in the woods. Because as you guys know, Blake Monroe's final match before she got called up was last week when Tatum buried her in a casket match, but actually retained her title. So basically, Blake Monroe and Sol Ruca both lost their final matches last week to get called up. Pretty much, they put the NXT people over. You know, people are staying down there. Zarya got put over by Sol, and then Tatum got put over by Blake. It was good. It was good. I liked it. But anyway, they're burying Boy's casket in the woods, and they both agree that they hope her soul finds peace wherever she ends up. That's like she's dead. It's funny. Tatum says she's just been in survival mode, and Shiloh says she's the kind of person that forms strong attachments and that makes her fun to be around. And then they pretty much just leave, and then she lays next to Blake's open grave, and then we go to commercial break. And that was pretty much it. So, yeah, we go to break, and then we get to the next segment.
Putting teamwork to the test in
so
this match
we get, well, before this segment, you guys are watching this. I mean, LNA and Berto on the match, obviously. The two wrestlers that Alexis King and Stacks about to fight aren't in this game, so I have it on random again. But anyway, there's a faction on NXT known as the BirthRight. It's the Speed Men's Champ, Alexis King. Then we got Stacks, TNA Knockouts World Champion Ariana Grace, Charlie Dempsey, and Uriah Connors. It's those five. They all come out together, and Alexis King cuts a promo. The rest of the four of them are out there with him too. So Alexis King, while they're out there with him, like they're about to have a tag match. But oh wait, sorry guys, I apologize. I just realized Alexis King's not in this tag match. It's Uriah Connors and Stacks. My bad. I made an error. Alexis King should not be in this match. But whatever. I already set it up. I'm too lazy. I'm honestly too lazy to go back and change it. So. Anyway, Alexis King says he has terrible news for us because he's wanted to come out here and cheer on his brothers putting on a tag team clinic. But unfortunately for EK Prosper, he has to prosper all on his own because his buddies suffer a little incident. So basically, they showed footage earlier in the day. The original tag match that was planned here was Stacks and Uriah Connors versus Eli Prosper and Dorian Von Dux. And they showed footage earlier of Dorian Von Dux getting beat up in the back by BirthRight, and because of that, he's not medically cleared to compete. So EK Prosper's on his own now. So he comes running out and tries to beat up the faction, but you know that damn numbers game. they 4-on-1 beat on him, and as he's getting beaten down, I know where Shawn Legacy makes the save from Evolve. Shawn Legacy is also I like him. He's a fun babyface. He helps Eli Prosper clear the ring and attack the BirthRight out of the ring. So then we get to the tag match. It's EK Prosper and now Shawn Legacy versus Stacks and Uriah Connors in a tag match. And it was a fun match, and in the end, EK Prosper and Shawn Legacy won the match. But then post-match, the BirthRight start beating them down, and then we get another debut. Tate Wilder makes the save. He's from Evolve as well. I actually know him, he's pretty fun. Tate Wilder comes out and he saves Prosper and Legacy and helps them attack the BirthRight out of the ring and the trio stand tall. That was fun. Then backstage we get Callie Armstrong confronting Jada Parker. It says if she has to check her, then so be it. And the rest of the women give up to stop them about to bring them back to the fight. Funny because this is actually funny is when Callie Armstrong I first saw her debut. I told my little brother who watched wrestling with me, I was like, she reminds me of Jada Parker. So it's kind of funny these two actually fighting. Anyway, then we go to commercial break, and They show like the new Peacock documentary for Shawn Michaels that just came out. I actually gotta watch it. It looks really good. Then they show the breaking news that Shawn Michaels has announced, but I'm not gonna say announced. I want to surprise you guys a bit later. Basically, the news story that I told you guys I want to talk about later about NXT, they announced it right here on the show in this segment, but I don't want to say it. But I'm gonna talk about it later anyway and surprise you guys. So stay tuned. That part, my news for later, they basically announced on the show right here in this segment. So we'll talk about that later. Then we go backstage to NXT General Manager Robert Stone. He shakes Tate Wilder's hand and welcomes him to NXT. Then Lola Vice rolls up, the NXT Women's Champion and the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champion with Mystery Blonde. Lola Vice comes up and she says if Izzy Dame, she's been shooting Izzy Dame from the calling factor, she's been shooting of Izzy. Lola says if Izzy Dame wants to play games, she'll call her out, and so she goes to make her entrance. And is about to go call her out. So Lola Vice makes her entrance, and she gets a mic, and she says Izzy Dame thinks she got her moment. And she still feels sorry for Izzy because she can't do anything on her own. The moment she does, she gets knocked out. So that's why Lola Vice is in the ring here, no waiting, no hiding, and she wants Izzy to come out. She wants her to come and find out what she's gonna do to her, what Lola's gonna do to her, and she says that Lola is gonna be the fighting champion. That this place. Oh wait, sorry, I misread that. She's gonna be the most fightingest champion this place has ever seen, and she wants Izzy to show her what she's got. And another member of the calling, the faction, Izzy's faction, Shawn Spears, he shows up on the Titantron. He says Lola hasn't thought this through, and if she wants to hold on to her title, she needs to stay one step ahead, just like the calling has been. As he says that, Izzy Dame and the other member of the group, Nico Van, appear behind Lola, behind her in the ring. Lola says it looks like she's got backup too, pretty much what she said. And nowhere from under the ring, Mystery Iguana comes out from AAA, who's currently the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champion with Lola. Mystery Iguana comes out, and basically him and Lola attack Izzy and Nico out of the ring and stand tall. So that was a fun little segment to further build that feud. Next, we get backstage. Darkstate are bickering, and Saquon and Shugars thinks Leon and Lennox cost him the belt on purpose, and they just go back and forth, and now they want to go back to tag team. Then we go to backstage to commercial. We go to commercial, and then we come back, and Nikita Lyons has a backstage promo. And she was saying how she's not going to let new girls jump in line, because there's a new girl debuting up next, Lizzy Rain. They've actually been showing really cool vignettes for her. I'm actually excited for her. She's got a metal singer gimmick, and she's really fun. I like her energy. And she's actually about to make her in-ring debut up next and fight Nikita Lyons. So we're about to go to that match right now. Alright guys, so I don't have Lizzy Rain's obviously not in the game yet, but I don't want to. It's her in-ring debut. I don't want to have Ram Star this time. Because that's her in-ring debut. But so I'm just gonna just talk, in the menu. I know I forgot, I couldn't figure out how to turn the music off in the background in the jukebox settings. I don't want to get copyrighted for it, so I'm just gonna try my best to talk louder and talk over the music, because I don't want to spectate a match when it's her debut. I don't want to disrespect her like that. So anyway, Lizzy Rain versus Nikita Lyons it's a really good match. Lizzy Rain looks really good. I'm very impressed. I'm very excited to see what she does. She wins by pinfall with her finisher that Vic Joseph called on commentary Thunderstruck, which is perfect for her gimmick because Thunderstruck by AC/DC. If you're an old school metal fan or or metalhead fan in general like me, then you love that finisher. Thunderstruck, and it looks really cool too. Thunderstruck by AC/DC, I love that. But it fits her character perfectly, and her nickname is the Maiden of Metal. I love that as well. And also, someone said this online. Really cool fun fact. I forgot what's drummer, but apparently she's actually the niece of one of the drummers in Iron Maiden, the band Iron Maiden. So that's pretty cool. She's literally, her uncle is literally a drummer in Iron Maiden. That's pretty impressive. That's awesome. So anyway, great debut. I'm excited to see what she does. Then we go backstage to Myles Borne asking Tavion Heights why he attacked Tony D'Angelo. It's not like him. And Tavion says it's the exact same thing Myles did to Ethan Page, but now he's got a title and he's acting different. Myles says that's not what he means. He just got caught by surprise. There's all these new guys coming in. Tavion tells him he can add him to that list. Basically saying he's like a whole new man now. That's what he's saying. Then we get Keanu Carver coming up to them, and he says he told Tony D'Angelo last week, and he's telling Myles Borne tonight. There's a lot of sharks swimming around here, but you're looking at the great white. Then we go back to the commercial. We come back. The Vanity Project's backstage. It's consistent, all three members, which is Jackson Drake, and then the NXT Tag Team Champions, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes, also known as Swipe Right. That's their tag team name. So Jackson Drake and Swipe Right, the Vanity Project. They're in the back, and they have the tag team titles locked down. Swipe Right says, and then Jackson Drake's turn. Now, and they said they have the tag team titles locked down. Now it's Jackson Drake's turn to step up for some gold. Jackson says since he has Mika, because they've been having these little. Jackson Drake's been having these little vignettes in the back and like restaurants on a date with this girl named Mika. And Jackson says since he has Mika, he thinks he can conquer anything. He's in there like swimwear, whatever that means. Then Jesper Troy is in the background. He rolls up and he says to Jackson, he should be focused on gold. And if you want to date, have the two of them go at it next week. So that should be fun. And yeah, that was it for the backstage segment. So now we can go into the actual next match. This is the match that was set up earlier in the backstage thing. We're getting Speed Women's Champion Ryan Sinclair versus Klein Jordan. Again, the Speed Women's title is not on the line. Just a random non-title match. Grudge match. It's a fun match. I really enjoyed it. There's not much to talk about. It was just a match, but it was fun. And Klein Jordan wins. That's all I really said. There wasn't really much story or anything in the match. It was just a fun match. Klein got the win. They're building her up. Ever since turning heel, she's like racking up wins. Well, she's losing sometimes, but she's losing a little bit too still, but she's also got a lot more wins than losses recently. So I think they're building her up. It's good stuff. Then we get a Zarya video package. It's her talking about moving on from Sol Ruca after beating her last week and sending her to the main roster. I've seen a lot of controversy about this video package, and I can see why. It was an AI video. I'm just going to say it was an AI video, and it looked terrible. Terrible. It was not good. It's funny, too, because Lillian... I should talk about this on the Raw review, too, but I think it came out on Tuesday morning, so we didn't have time to talk about it. But recently a story came out earlier this week, too, that literally the TKO president, Mark Shapiro, he literally admitted that WWE uses AI to help with their storylines. And this shows it. This video was not good. If you guys haven't seen it, look it up. It's terrible AI slop. It's literally AI slop. It was Zarya talking about moving on, and that was really it. Then we get commentary. It goes from Booker T. They're hyping up next week's show. All the stuff for next Tuesday. They announced 3 matches for next week. Next week we're getting a mixed tag team match of Lola Vice, Mr. Iguana versus Izzy Damon and Nico Vance. Sean Cruz are ringside. Next match we're getting is Callie Armstrong versus Jada Parker in a 1-on-1 match. And finally, also in a 1-on-1 match, Jesper Troy versus Jackson Drake with Swipe Right ringside. So, yeah, it'll be fun. It's like a fun card for next week. And that's it for that segment. And now, the next match, it's main event time. This match was last week. This is our main event. It's Shiloh Hill versus Ricky Saints, the absolute Ricky Saints. And so Shiloh Hill got the win, and it makes sense because last week Sol Ruca lost to Zarya to end their feud, and Sol Ruca got called up to Raw. She's signing her contract on Raw this coming Monday, actually. They announced last week. Also last week, Blake Monroe lost her match to Tam Pass to end their feud, and Blake got called up. Same thing here. Ricky Saints lost. Oh, also Ethan Page lost to Tony D'Angelo when he got called up. Gracie Jane lost her match when she got called up to. She lost to Lola Vice. So it makes sense. Same thing here. It's basically the same thing here. Ricky Saints lost to Shiloh Hill as he's getting called up. It makes sense. Like basically, they're all pretty much like everyone gets called up, they lose to the person that's staying on NXT. They're putting over the person that's staying down there. The win to the person staying down there. It makes sense. I respect it. I love it.
It's going to take more than that to keep him down.
I'm excited for Shiloh's future. This is what I must talk about here. It was kind of Ricky's farewell. Shiloh got the win, and it was a really good match. And probably by far the biggest win of his career so far. It was really good stuff. And post-match, this is kind of funny. Post-match, he's celebrating the crowd, the fans, and he's got like a dummy, like one of those like blow-up dummies, the blow-up like floats. It was a blow-up of Jason Voorhees. Really funny stuff. I'm a horror fan as well, so I got a nice laugh at that. Like one day, I honestly could start like a horror video game like type podcast because I love that kind of stuff too. But yeah. Just a little side note, if you guys are ever interested in hearing me on other shows, doing other shows one day, let me know. That was it for the main event. Before the show ends, we get one more thing in the back. Backstage, Shawn Michaels, Robert Stone, and Matt Bloom are in the back, and Tony D'Angelo comes on in the boardroom where they are, and he says he loves the chaos on the show, but anyone who attacks him again, he'll defend against all three of them, be a fighting champ and stuff. And then Shawn says he's the NXT champion. It's time to prove it. And that was pretty much it. I think that after that, now is the end of the show. That was the final thing of the show. So, fun episode. I also thought of a new thing I want to do. I want to start rating these shows like stars. So I would say out of 10, I give this show like a solid 7, like 7.5 out of 10. It's fun, good stuff. And that's it. But like, as I promised you guys before, I'm not going to end the podcast just yet. We're done covering the show, but there is one huge news thing I want to talk about. It's only one. I only got one thing for you, but it's a pretty big thing. So pretty big news, breaking news. So let's talk about it. I need to go pull it up actually. All right, guys. So here we go. This is the news, the big news of the week. So as you guys know, the CW network has had NXT, the TV show, since October 2024. But the pre and live events, aka formerly known as the pay-per-views, the pre and live events were on Peacock. Recently, the Peacock deal expired. The pre and live events, like right before WrestleMania, right before April started. So earlier this month, NXT had Stand and Deliver, their biggest pay-per-view of the year. Basically, their WrestleMania. It's their pre and live event of the year, their biggest one for NXT. Stand and Deliver didn't have a streaming home, so what they did was they literally just live streamed it on YouTube completely free. They still have the show. That's what it wasn't on any streaming service because at the time when the show aired, they didn't have a new deal yet for anywhere for the premium live events. Sorry, I was taking a sip of my drink. I have a soda. Yeah, they basically didn't have a streaming deal for Stand and Deliver. So they just had it on YouTube for free. Now they got a new deal. So here we go. I'm gonna start linking the stuff in the descriptions too, by the way, guys, so you know where I'm getting my sources from. I'm gonna link the articles in the description. So this is actually on WWE.com. Like they announced it on there. The title says the CW network acquires exclusive broadcast rights to WWE NXT Premium Live events in a multi-year deal. So this is gonna be for multiple years. Like they're not going anywhere. They're gonna be on the CW network with the TV show for several years to come. So it says the CW network and WWE part of TKO announced today all NXT Premium Live events, all of them, will now air exclusively on the CW. It's going to be beginning with the Great American Bash later this summer. The CW will broadcast 20 PLEs in their entirety live over the next several years, including Stand and Deliver, Deadline, Vengeance Day, and more. With the addition of NXT PLEs to the CW's lineup, the network is now the exclusive home for all NXT programming, besides like the whole library, which is free on their YouTube channel. It's free on NXT's YouTube channel. So anyway, it's home for all NXT programming, which showcases WWE's hot and upcoming stars. It also airs weekly live NXT installments every Tuesday night. We already know this, blah blah blah. Here's the juicy stuff. The CW entered a 5-year deal with WWE back in October of 2024 to bring NXT to broadcast television for the first time ever in the show's history. Its broadcast television debut had the largest audience in October 2023, whatever, blah blah blah. As the exclusive home NXT, the CW airs 52 live events a year. Throughout the season, every Tuesday night from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. stacked lineup like NXT Champion Tony D'Angelo, NXT Women's Champion Lil Vice. Okay, this is just kind of just corporate stuff. Shawn Michaels talks, TKO President talks, whatever. That was really like that's really the important stuff. If you want to read the article again, I'll put the link in the description. But that was really the important stuff. Just the announcement about the 20 PLEs, the Great American Bang, like that, all that. That was the important stuff. So that's my biggest news item. I'm excited they finally got home. It's because it had me wondering. Like you had me wondering like what's gonna happen. Like are they all gonna be on YouTube forever? Well, now we know they got home now. So it's nice to see. Very excited for the future. But that's gonna do it for me, guys. Schedule for this week. So NXT and AEW reviews for me are probably gonna be alone a lot because I don't really watch them with anyone else. My brother and one of my friends watches them. I'm probably gonna have them on as special guests every now and then, special guest co-hosts, maybe for like the TV specials and the pay-per-views, stuff like that. So those will be my alone shows, my solo shows. For Raw and SmackDown, I'm always gonna have my co-host, like my co-host, you guys have been hearing. He'll always be here for Raw and SmackDown because he watches both of those with me. So, excuse me, and the main roster pay-per-views as well for Raw and SmackDown. The premium live events, sorry. But like for NXT, I'll review the weekly show solo, but like maybe for the TV specials and like the premium live events for NXT, I'll have someone on, something like that for the future. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Then, so the rest of the schedule this week, I'm probably gonna be uploading my first ever AEW review tomorrow for AEW Dynamite. I'm probably not gonna be reviewing Collision at all on this channel, at least for the foreseeable future, because I don't really watch it. Same with AAA and TNA, same thing with them. I keep up with all the results. I just don't have time to watch them. We got a lot of wrestling every week, us fans. It's a lot to watch. So, um, my AEW debut is gonna be tomorrow. I'm gonna be reviewing Dynamite probably tomorrow. Then after that, next time you guys are gonna see me is probably Friday night for my co-host once again with SmackDown. So, yeah, that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. In the meantime, peace.